Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Captain's Table. I am your host, Captain B-Nard, and topic of discussion today is going to be Pokemon. Looking back and looking forward into the Pokemon franchise. Here to discuss that with me, returning to the Captain's Table for the third time, we have the infamous Joey Fontaine. Welcome back.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Mm, no problem, man. Um, Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet today. We're going to probably spend a little time first looking back on Generation 8 as that is officially coming to a close. But yeah, I think we're going to be mostly talking about Scarlet and Violet. And yeah, that's pretty much that. So you know the deal. This is not your first rodeo. So yeah, do you have anything you want to add or are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Bring on the questions,
You
and I
got
give
it.
you my humble opinion.
Your raw, unfiltered opinion.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I mentioned, Scarlet and Violet. At this point, we're only a few short weeks away from the release of Scarlet and Violet, which marks the official start to Generation 9 in Pokemon, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, so before that, we're gonna, I think, take a little bit of a look back on Generation 8. So we got a lot of games out of Generation 8, actually, and we have spent a lot of time talking about them, specifically BDSP here. I know I've talked to you quite a bit about them, so there's probably not a ton more to add on that, but um, I'd like to ask you your kind of final thoughts, I guess I would say, perhaps, on BDSP, Legends Arceus, even Sword and Shield, if you want to go back that far, and yeah, go for it.
Well, Sword and Shield, the graphics are better, but we have like more Pokemon
Mm,
in the game than Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That's just a remake.
yep,
So it technically Gen 4 remake, but they count it as Gen 8. But
right.
it basically called Gen 8 because we don't have a hidden power of moves that and items they took away, but I don't know why. In Gen 4 we had Pursuit and all that.
Yeah, it was annoying. It was annoying what they've what. So I got to tell you, I when it comes to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, my overall thought looking back on it is kind of disappointment, to be honest with you. Although, don't get me wrong, I didn't hate the games. I think the graphics were definitely a lot better, which is nice. But and it was, how do I put this? So the thing that disappointed me about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Generation 4, Diamond Pearl Platinum. I love those games, but I've mentioned extensively before that that's what got me back into Pokemon was Generation 4, after being out of Pokemon for Generation 3. So I have a special place in my heart for those games, and maybe that's why I'm a little disappointed because I was expecting more from Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Because um, I don't know if you remember this, but and I think we might have mentioned it maybe possibly last time. I don't remember, but there was a lot of speculation and rumor as to when we were getting a Gen 4 remake for a long time prior to us actually getting a Gen 4 remake. I think
Yeah, and it took about 3 years or
yeah,
longer.
dating back to what, like after Sun and Moon, I want to say, because I believe after Sun and Moon dropped, it was even in Generation 7. There was after Sun and Moon dropped, there was speculation we were going to get Gen 4 remakes, and then they did Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and then there was speculation after that. But then they went to Let's Go, Pikachu Eevee, and then they announced Generation 8, and then after Sword and Shield, obviously, it finally happened. Um, but I think the biggest thing I take issue with is that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl ended up being not so much a remake as more of just like a re-release. Like it was a re-release of a game and nothing more. Like they didn't have anything new really, and as you pointed out, not only did they really not have anything new, but they took things away that were in the original games, like the move tutors and certain moves and certain items, and it felt like less, you know what I mean?
That's how the company works. You pay more for less. When Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum came out, it's about $40 or something like that.
Yep.
And now this you're paying for a remake that is basically on a different device. That is, don't get me wrong, the graphics are amazing. It just you're paying for the graphics basically. But well,
Pretty
down here
much.
we paid $92.
Yeah, and the other thing is like back then, I think the thing was obviously back then the Generation 4 Pokédex was all there was. So you had, when Diamond Pearl Platinum came out, that was every Pokemon that existed at that point in time. Now, there's a whole nother 4 generations. There's like a whole nother 400 Pokemon essentially past that we have no access to, which is a problem for me. And I got to be honest with you, I was shocked that we did not get a BDSP DLC like they did with Sword and Shield with Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra. Like, yes, you could argue whether or not that was a ripoff, and personally, I would argue it was a ripoff. But at least it was still, yeah. I mean, you're paying $30 for like an hour's worth of content, maybe two. You know what I mean?
I think
So
it's like 3 hours. Remember, I live stream it.
okay, gotcha. Yeah, so
I
something
did
low.
DLC. We have to wait a bit for the
Yeah,
second one.
yeah, exactly. So I think that it was, at least with that, it was something like it gave you access to more Pokemon. It expanded the dex to about what, like 650 or something, I think, out of 900, which is not bad. And especially, see, that's the other thing is like we might have access to almost 500 Pokemon on BDSP, but it's not crafted in the way that Sword and Shield was crafted, because Sword and Shield was kind of just like cherry picking, obviously, Pokemon from all 7 prior generations, plus all the new ones in Generation 8. Whereas in BDSP, since it's a re release and nothing more, you're stuck with all the crap like the Cascoons and all that crap from like generations 1 through 4 that nobody cares about. And granted, they did bring some Pokemon in Sword and Shield, or back rather, that nobody cared about, but I think there's a lot more of them in
But
BDSP.
I wish they bring back Megas. They put that in Let's Go, but no abilities. Who want to hit a Hurricane with no ability with Mega Pidgeot?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No
You want
guard
to hit a
is,
Hurricane with Pidgeot? Good luck.
yeah, that's, your odds aren't very good. But yeah, I mean,
So they bring back Megas, but with less.
yeah,
But
exactly.
they're just a money grab.
Yeah,
The
and
Let's Go and the Let's Go. I didn't buy them, but I saw a lot of video on them.
mm,
It's just a money grab. They Nintendo bring up nostalgia
yes,
of counter. They shove counter in everyone's face.
well, Nintendo, I should say, is, maybe they should change their name to Nostalgia. Nintendo
The
has
money
never,
grab.
yeah, Nintendo has never been shy about using nostalgia to grab money. That is 100% true. And I did get, I guess that technically might count as Generation 8 or 7.5 or 7.99, whatever you want.
7.5.
Generation 7.99 was Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. We'll call it that. Um, so yeah, I did get Let's Go Pikachu after the fact, and it's not bad, but I never even finished it, to be honest with you, because then Sword and Shield came out, and I was like, well, I don't need this anymore.
Well,
But
you can battle online. You can trade, and more trade, and then catch
yeah,
Pokemon like that.
exactly.
You
So,
know,
but yeah,
well,
so
you can actually no, you can battle. You just can't battle in Legend Arceus. You can battle in Let's Go, but you running with no abilities. I feel like no Gen 1. That way counter is coming in my face.
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, actually, speaking to that point with Sword and Shield, um, I think I talked about that at the time as well. As I mainly had positive thoughts about Sword and Shield. I didn't think the graphics were very good, even for a Nintendo game, which is really saying something. Um,
In PS2 graphics better than Sword and Shield.
yeah, so I can't disagree with you there. But yeah, so yeah, I don't think I have too much more to say about that. I did like other than that, I did like the game, and I did like, all in all, I was skeptical about not having access to the full decks, but I did. It's kind of almost like BDSP made Sword and Shield look better. You know what I mean? Like,
The only
not literally because of the graphics, but I mean, figuratively, because it's like with Sword and Shield, it's like, oh, you thought you were getting the shaft with Sword and Shield because you didn't have the full decks. Wait do you see this, and then and then we get BDSP. So, but I will say, I think I started to say before, I was stunned that there was no DLC for BDSP because I was thinking, surely, like we were going to get more, like surely they can't just hang this game out to dry like that. And sure enough, that's exactly what Nintendo did. And that's my biggest problem with, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still like the game, but my biggest problem with BDSP is that it got zero support from Game Freak. It got zero support from Nintendo. It's like they dropped the game, and then 2.5 months later they drop Legends Arceus, and that's it. Like it's crazy. You know what I mean?
Apparently, they rush it. They shouldn't rush the games.
Yeah, the development cycles, and I know this is something you had mentioned before. The development cycles on these games are just so short that it's like they pretty much just like it was like I said, I keep saying this, but it just felt like BDSP wasn't so much of a remake as it was just a re-release. It was like they changed like virtually nothing, and what they did change was for the most part taking things away, and then they just shove it out, and then it's like no updates, no DLC, no extra Pokemon. The timer is still short from Sword and Shield, which sucks, which I'm sure we'll bring up multiple times going forward. Um,
Yeah, the time is just bad.
yeah, and then
Remember B-Nard? Every time we battle,
yeah, it goes to
we
the
don't
timer
stall
every
each
time.
other.
I was
The
gonna say,
timer is always decide the battle. I wish there's a way we just uh don't have the timer. Oh, put it longer.
yeah, no, I agree 100%. It feels like every game goes to the timer, which is unfortunate. But yeah, but
Like me and what is it? Me and Sad did a battle in Sword and Shield. We did a Metronome battle.
mhm,
So what we did is because the timer got in our way,
mhm.
we continue with the Pokemon we have left, and then we continue afterwards. The second round too,
Oh, just like
with the
restart,
whatever
like
left.
start a second game, but with the same Pokemon you had left.
Yes. So everything that faints because it mentioned on, we get lucky off whatever we get.
Yeah,
We continue whatever we have left. Doesn't matter how many Pokemon we have left
right,
because
right.
one move can turn the tide easy. Depending on what Pokemon you have.
Of course, yeah, that's
And
crazy.
me and him we banned Ghost types because I don't know why Mesham always give us fighting moves. I don't know why.
That's kind of funny.
And then because and also Gengar is immune to normal and fighting, and that is usually a lot of mesh. You get random moves, so
Yes.
you can't. That is kind of cheap, so we ban all Ghost types.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. I would say, but yeah, I think the one thing though about BDSP that really shocked me more than anything, I would say, is not only all the stuff that I just mentioned, but in addition to that, they didn't even make home, like they didn't weren't you weren't even able to port like the regional variants on home. You know what I mean? Like you
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
get.
the update. We didn't say that on last broadcast.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
remember update just got updated like maybe 3 months ago, but yeah,
yeah, but you can't
they
get
give
like.
you crappy moves.
Well, yeah, not only the moves, but it's like you can't get like a Alolan Ninetales or like, Galarian Weezing, or you know what I mean? Like you can't even get the regional variants, so you're just stuck with that very rigid number of Pokemon, and it's just I don't know, man. Like I'm really disappointed that they didn't support the game more. Like it's just like it was almost like they released it just because they had to, because they were thinking like, oh well, following with the pattern, it's like we released Heart Gold and Soul Silver after Generation 4, and then we released Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire after Generation 6. So
Well,
it's an even
Vino,
numbered generation.
do you play that game? You played the remix of Silver and Gold.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Back in the day.
So that game actually was clean.
Oh yeah.
You get the first you get what is it? Johto, then you get the legendaries,
And
then
you
you
go.
go all the way to the other side after
Yep.
you beat the Elite Four.
Yep.
Then you end it with beating your older rival. No.
Yeah,
And then
man.
your the rival in the game is he trash talks. I love that.
Yeah, dude. I mean the Heart Gold and Soul Silver were amazing games, absolutely, and
Even
even
the graphics better than Sword and Shield. That was funny.
Almost, yeah.
And
But
that the GameCube. No, not GameCube. That the
DS.
old 3DS. We going
Yep.
old school.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah,
Well,
I
the
mean,
games are good. But the 240 PP screen, you have to get the big 3DS.
yeah,
The
yeah.
better screen.
But that's a perfect example of doing a remake and doing a good remake and doing it correctly. You know what I mean? Like, and then Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire was a great game too. I think like they did.
The graphic was amazing. We got primals. I get scared of facing those.
Yeah, yeah, those are overpowered, but OP.
So
But yeah,
I want imagine being on Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl graphics in Sword and Shield. Oh, I
yeah,
want that game. I
yes.
want that game now.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think that you might be getting that game in about a month or so, maybe, or less than a month at this point, maybe a
Well,
few
you know,
weeks.
it's a different company that make Brilliant Diamond. It wasn't. It was Game Freak and somebody else. There's a different company that
They,
actually make the graphic.
well, I
It's the
was
same
just,
company that made the picture game there,
oh,
Pokemon Snap.
new Pokemon Snap, that's what it was. Yeah, so yeah, no, they
So it's the
definitely.
same company.
I was gonna say whoever did those graphics needs to stay on for sure, but yeah, I know they do subcontract their work a lot, especially with these, as we mentioned, the shortened development cycles, and that's another thing that, speaking about the development cycles, that kind of shocks me is that you even think about, like, we're getting like Generation 8 lasted all of what, like 3 years, because Sword and Shield came out in 2019 and now we're getting Scarlet and Violet in 2022. So that was like a 3 year cycle for Generation 8, which is like, that is short. Yeah, and not only is that short, but like they pumped out many games in that, like quite a few games in that time period. Like they had in the, Arceus, Pikachu, if you want to count it, and then
Uh,
obviously the main games, Sword and Shield and BDSP. But it's like it's crazy. Like the it's just crazy to me. Um,
they should remaster, not remake. They might ruin it. Pokemon Gale of Darkness and Calcium. That's
uh,
on the GameCube, and that
I
graphics is decent.
I was just gonna say the stadium I'm used to. The I'm not really familiar with those, but um,
Ain't that we getting that? Oh, is it out yet?
I think that might have been out a while ago, but it was kind of like nobody. It was kind of one of those things where there was a lot of hype behind it, and then it just came out, and everybody was like, "Eh." Like I remember, yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but back in the DS days when they were doing like the Pokemon 20-year anniversary, it was kind of the same thing with like they were doing like red, blue, and yellow re-releases, and I remember there was a lot of hype behind that when it was happening, and then it came out, and it was the same thing. Everybody was kind of like, eh, you know.
Well,
So,
people can just get the games easy on the emulator. They don't need to.
well,
People
not
get it on the phone. My
exactly.
my my friend, Philip, he
Mm.
playing Emerald on his mobile.
Yeah, that's a lot more convenient, honestly, and the graphics are the same basically, because they didn't really update the graphics in those, which is kind of what I was thinking they would do. Um, but yeah, so I think I don't really have too much more to say about anything else at Generation 8. I think it was, pretty successful all in all, but at the same time, like, there's definitely room for improvement. I think my biggest takeaway, because it feels like Pokemon is going to just be doing this consistently going forward, is they're going to cherry pick a Pokédex for each generation. We're never going to have a full dex again, which is, I've kind of coming to terms with that, even though I'm still not happy about it. I've kind of come to terms with it. I understand that it seems not feasible to, because you'd have to think that prior to Generation 9, we are at about 900 Pokemon, and post Generation 9, we're probably going to be pushing 1,000 Pokemon. That's a lot of Pokemon, like that's
Well,
a,
I wish we get more boxes. 32 of 30 is not enough. We
well,
have breed Pokemon,
yep.
multiple Pokemon, different sets.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
yeah, I don't really collect them, so I don't run into that
well,
problem.
if
But
they want you to buy boxes
oh,
or use Pokemon Home as storage. I just use that at games.
the paid. I was gonna say, yeah, if they want you to get the paid version of Home, which is, yeah, it's a money game at the end of the day. I mean, and that's, feeding back to the shortened development cycles. It's the same thing. It's all a money game. But
No, if a home was a lot more money than a bank.
yes, yes, it is quite
I think it's
different.
like 3 times or something like that.
Yes, it was. It was yeah. It was like home was I think or yeah. Pokemon Bank was like $5 I think, and then home is like $16 or something like that, or 15 something like that. Or no, it was $6, and one was six, and then the home is 15 I think, unless they upped it because of inflation. I don't know, but
Yeah, well, do you see the graphics in Home? The Pokemon are amazing. You actually
yeah,
see the Pokemon.
yes, they do
Why
look
can't
good.
they just do that with the new game, the Diamond, Villain Diamond, or the Sword and Shield?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think they might be doing that in Scarlet and Violet because from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. I mean, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's a big takeaway for me. I think another big takeaway is like obviously like one of the big takeaways is it's a money game with Pokemon now, and it's just more obvious
Yep.
than ever. Like with that, with the deal, with the paid DLCs with Sword and Shield, like it was nice to get more content out of them, but like even so, like you shouldn't have to pay that much for. Like I'd say those DLCs in Sword and Shield were probably worth like half what they charged for them, but yeah, so that's a big takeaway for me. Another big takeaway is they need to fix the timer in Scarlet and Violet for
I wish
competitive
they,
battling.
yeah, they should just make it at least 30 minutes at least. That's all I'm asking.
I agree with you 100%. That's what I want, and because like the old timer was an hour, I don't think that was unnecessary.
That's
Just
too long.
yeah, 30 minutes would be a perfect amount of time because I can't tell you how many games that I've had that at the 20-minute timer, there was like maybe five or six turns left in the game at most, you know? And like, if we would have just had like an extra few minutes to just play it out, it would have been ended and it would have been so much better. So a 30-minute timer, my fingers are crossed, all my fingers and all my toes are crossed for that. Um,
Well, I have glasses, so my eyes are already crossed.
there you go. There you go. Um, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, I know those are all negatives, but like those are my I guess my biggest negative takeaways. But I do have positive takeaways. Like
I don't like what they did with the battle time. You beat seven people for 1 point, bro. We beat all
oh,
day.
that was awful. Yeah, the way they altered
How
the
are you
battle
supposed to get
tower.
items for battling and you have a struggle just to get one battle point?
That's why people cheat, man. That's why
No,
that's what
that
Jenning is for, you know.
that's why I cannot do this. I give up. It takes forever to get any points.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up actually because there is a stark difference that I noticed and that you're pointing out between how easy, like quality of life is what they call it in that's the lingo. Um, Sword and Shield, there are so many quality of life improvements and time savers, and Sword and Shield made it very easy for you to make a fully trained, competitive, battle ready Pokemon legitimately the right way. They made it very easy to do that by comparison. And BDSP, it's like they took a step backwards. Like it was even harder in BDSP to do it than it was in the original, like you were saying, because you get like no battle points for running the tower, and it's like what's going on here, you know? It's ridiculous.
I wish they bring the Battle Frontier. That was amazing.
Yeah, I was disappointed that they didn't do that. And I guess that's obviously a platinum thing, but I don't see any reason why they couldn't have just done that. You know, like to me, there's no reason that they couldn't have done that. There's no reason that they couldn't have given us the 30-minute timer. There's no reason that they could have, at bare minimum, even if they weren't going to have DLC for BDSP, at bare minimum they should have been able to let you send your regional variants to BDSP, like I mentioned, like Alolan Ninetales is a big
Yeah, I
favorite.
like to use Boom Boom Solo. I don't
Mm.
care if it's not out. Nintendo should fix that.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, there
Uh,
are,
but
yeah,
uh, Boom Boom Solo has no switch-ins. Who's living expects Boonbus?
yeah, nobody. That's who. Um,
Probably Heat Round and Bronzor. You have to bring all the steel types.
well, yeah, but yeah, those are all negatives. But I do have some positive takeaways, I would say, and so, one of them is like BDSP gives me hope for the graphics future of Pokemon. I'll say that. Um, Sword and Shield kind of gives me hope as far as like when they're cherry picking a Pokédex that they can do it right, because I think they did for all in all do it right in Sword and Shield the way they built the Pokédex. So they also
Yeah.
came out with some cool new Pokemon in Sword and Shield too. There were a lot of good new designs, which I have to imagine is difficult to do this when you're this far into a franchise. Like they have to
Yeah,
be.
I missed the Ultra Beast
Yeah, I do miss the Ultra Beast too, but they have to be running out of
and
ideas.
the Tapu and the
Right.
Guardians.
Right. So yeah, so they still have good ideas for good Pokemon designs, which does inspire confidence. And then I know this is like an overlooked thing, but I actually thought the story mode and the way the characters were on Sword and Shield, and I know I mentioned this before, but that is a big positive takeaway for me is they made a really fun story that made sense and the characters made sense. Like it wasn't like really the same as like the same old thing as what most Pokemon games are. So that was definitely a
What
silver
game are you
lining.
talking about?
What's that?
What game are you talking about? Sword and
Sword and
Shield
Shield.
or
Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield.
I found the story was very thin.
Yeah. I don't know. I
It's
liked it.
very
I
it's
think,
too short and thin, but most people want to play for the competitive, not for the story mode.
well, maybe not
So a lot of
lengthwise, but
people,
I think quality, and this is another theme that I think the Pokemon franchise would be well served to live by, is that at this point in the franchise, they really need quality over quantity. Like I don't think they need to make anything like we don't need like a ton of new Pokemon every generation. We don't need like some crazy stupid stuff that nobody cares about. Like we don't need content for the sake of content. We just need them to focus in on the quality of the content.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I think all in all, I don't really have anything else to say about it. I actually spent longer talking about that than I thought I would, but that's fine. Um, I have to get it all out of my system now because we're moving on from Generation 8, obviously. So, bidding it a fond farewell. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, now moving on, obviously. Scarlet and Violet is what's on the table next, Generation 9. We have a lot of information, but surprisingly, not a lot of information about it so far. And we're probably not going to get too much more information about it, if any, I would think at this point, because like I said, we're only a few weeks away from the release of the game. So I don't think we're going to be getting too much more about it, which is kind of why I'm timing doing this now. Um, so let's start with the gameplay, I would say, as far as what we've seen out of Scarlet and Violet so far. So I think it's all pretty standard, to be honest with you. They do introduce some new mechanics to the gameplay, which I think are kind of rehashy, kind of questionable. But all in all, I think what I've seen, like the graphics look fine to me. The gameplay looks fine. Like I don't really have any big negatives about anything. But how do you view all that stuff based on what you've seen so far?
Well, I see the graphics look clean actually. If you saw
Hmm.
any pictures or videos, it actually look amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, we didn't get really a lot of information besides the few new Pokemon they show us.
Yep.
Oh, they rehashing the old Pokemon, making it different.
Hmm. Yeah. So
Like they doing it again. They making another form of the same Pokemon we already have.
yeah. So
Rupert, Rupert got a new form.
who did? Oh, Whooper. Yeah, Whooper.
Rupert.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that.
So all they doing
Palad.
is rehashing old Pokemon and changing the typing.
Yeah.
What
So
the heck?
I was just gonna say.
That's a little lazy.
A little bit, yeah. So that's a reoccurring thing. So Paladin Whooper is the only regional variant that they've released up until this point, which leads me to believe that there's probably not going to be a lot of regional variants, and it's variable because I think there were in what's it Generation 7 was really the first generation that they started up with this regional variant thing. And there were, I think, many more regional variants in Gen 7 than there were in Generation 8 in Sword and Shield, but they also did like regional evolutions in Generation 8, like with Surfetched and like Obstagoon, stuff
Yeah,
like that. So that is going to be a reoccurring theme here on Generation 9 because with the what's it called now, Farigiraf. So uh,
yeah.
it's a little ridiculous, but it does look more like a
I don't know
giraffe's.
why they. I don't know why they changed it to a different typing. It's still normal psychic. Boo.
Yeah, it should have been like dark psychic. I think that would have made more sense.
Yeah, because it has a dog head on the
Well,
head and it learned to crunch as well.
I was gonna say I'm not super crazy about the design, to be honest with you, but I mean it does at least look more like a giraffe, so that's
Well,
something. I've never been a big fan of Giraffe Rig, to be honest with you, so
I gotta get. I like every Pokemon. I gotta give it a try. If
mm,
it bad, it's bad.
fair enough. Um, but yeah, so I think they're definitely gonna dive deeper into that stuff in Generation 9. And actually, that's another thing. I hate to keep going back to BDSP, but one more thing I actually forgot to mention. I was so frustrated, and it ties in with Legends Arceus. Actually, there's two things that tie in with Legends Arceus. Well, one thing with BDSP, and then one to this game. So the tie-in with BDSP to Legends Arceus is I was so frustrated that they released like a dozen new Pokemon, more than a dozen new Pokemon on Legends Arceus, and those Pokemon are not available on BDSP either. Like that bothered the crap out of me that they did
Yeah, why
that.
they
Like,
release them? I don't. We don't even get Zoroark.
yeah, like that would have been perfect DLC content, right? Like if they were going to do a BDSP DLC, that would have been perfect for that, but like they didn't do that. Like it's so frustrating. And the other frustrating thing on that front is that we haven't seen any confirmation or indication that those Pokemon are even going to be in this game. I mean, they could be. We don't know, but that's just very frustrating to me as a competitive player that they made all these new Pokemon that are inaccessible right now. But um, but yeah, that's the one thing. But that's the tie-in with Arceus um, to Scarlet and Violet is. Speaking of the gameplay and the game mechanics, is similarly to Arceus. I don't know how much you know about Arceus, but in that game, I've watched my girlfriend play it quite a bit, so I know.
You didn't want to play
I didn't.
it.
I didn't really want to play it. Like So here's the thing: we were kind of in an awkward situation in Generation 8 with BDSP and Arceus and Sword and Shield, because it's like Sword and Shield is old. Like by the time BDSP and then Arceus came out, Sword and Shield's old news. So you're like, oh well, I kind of want to play BDSP because it had. But then Arceus comes out, and it's like BDSP is obviously more of a competitive scene, but then Arceus is more for the casuals. But it had some new Pokemon, but you can't really get to them. And then it's like it's uh, it's just so frustrating. Like the whole way they did that is just so frustrating to me. But in Arceus,
uh,
you
I
could,
wish they didn't. I wish they waited a little bit longer for each game to come out.
yes, longer development cycles is definitely a must, I think. But but the tie-in is similarly to in Arceus, where you like pick up materials and like can like craft items out of the materials. You can do that in Scarlet and Violet now. So
Yeah,
that's going to be an interesting mechanic going forward, I think. Um, I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's
I
an
hope they take that nasty mechanic that you literally find in Sword and Shield, that you find food on the floor and and you eat it.
yeah, I'm not a
That's
fan of that.
disgusting.
Yeah, I'm not a
No,
fan of
remember
that.
you if you click on right sparkling dots, you pick up food off the ground and make curry out of it.
Yes, I never did that in Sword and Shield, but I know I always saw the option and I was like, yeah, I'm good with that. Um,
You 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 it's AI. They don't need to eat
yes. Well, they're trying to make it
off the
realistic.
floor.
I get that. I mean, it's unnecessary, obviously, but they're trying to make it realistic, and I can understand that. But speaking
But
of that,
finding food off the floor?
yeah, no,
That's
it's
disgusting.
you're right. It's a bad idea. I agree with you, but
And it's
um,
supposed to be for kids. What if a kid go find someone on the street?
they're not setting a very good example, are they?
No, so I hope they took that away from the new games for sure.
I hope so.
They don't need finding food on the ground and making curry.
Yeah. But speaking of that, they have what is it like Pokemon Picnic? I think is in this generation that you're able to do that.
That is a lot better than finding crap on the floor that people toss away.
Yes, very very true, very true. So, but it's kind of the same concept as like
Or
you
you
know.
get random bags of hot dogs from strangers. You get,
That
like
sounds
what?
pretty bad.
A random food that you get from strangers talking to them.
Yes, that is
Oh, you
bad.
get that's just gross.
Yes, that is definitely bad. I agree with you there. Um,
And basically, it's telling the kids to get food from strangers that could lock them up in the van,
yeah.
or they could get off the floor and that is just contaminated. That and then nasty.
Yes, I agree with you. These are not good precedents to set at all. Um, but yeah, so there's that. Um, so there's another new big thing. Speaking of gameplay and game mechanics, um,
uh, crystallization or
terrestrial.
something like that.
Yeah, what I don't know. It's called terastallizing. I think that's what it is.
Well,
Yeah.
it looked like it turning into a diamond, so I say
Yes.
crystal.
Yes.
Crystallizing look sounds cool.
So that game mechanic, I gotta tell you, I'm actually very intrigued by that game mechanic because it's not super clear how it's gonna work or how long it's gonna last. I don't think or anything like that that I've seen. Um, but I think it's very interesting that your Pokemon is going to have like a it's quote unquote Terra type, and then that it becomes that type. So it's basically the whole concept of terastallizing is essential.
You have a free type. You're gonna have free types.
Yeah, although not at the same time. But yes, you'll have a third type that you become when you terastallize. So I think this is actually I like this a lot better than Gigantamax already. I'm gonna tell you that.
But
This is
the bad news about this is you will lose your other stabs
yes, that
unless
is.
they give you all three types at for the battle.
Well, they don't give you them all at the same time though. But it's the reason I like this is because it's neat because you can mind game your opponent with it. Because I assume that any Pokemon can have any different like their Terra type can be anything hypothetically. So
Yeah, you probably have that. You need to have a move of what you and probably I'm guessing crystal or something,
I would hope so. So
and
it's yeah. So it's basically a
it's like a
combination.
Z move.
It's
It's
like
like a Z move.
yeah. So it's kind of like a combination of like a Z move mixed with like a Mega Evolution mixed with like Gigantamax almost. So it's like it's kind of like it's just another take on those mechanics, but I actually really do like the idea of like you're, you know, say you're a ghost type or whatever, or you're a rock type or whatever you want to.
Blessing's gonna be broken.
Yeah, ghost type Chansey was so in one of the trailers. I don't know if you saw this one, but they actually were talking about how like certain type Terra types are going to be rarer than others. So they know that like okay, Chansey with a ghost Terra type is going to be really good. So because obviously it's normal, and then when
Also, it's gonna be hard to KO.
yeah exactly.
Uh,
So then it'll
I have
change
a
to a
question.
ghost
Are
type.
we getting Eviolite in back in this game, or we don't know yet?
We don't know, I don't think, but I would assume we are. Like, I would assume all the items that we had on Sword and Shield, or most of them anyway, I'll probably be back on this one, but we don't know for sure. Um,
We have to wait until we
mhm.
get the items.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I will say I kind of I like the idea of the terastallizing and the Terra type and whatever, and I'm very intrigued. I think it's going to be very easy for it to be broken, that's for sure. Um, So I really do hope that you have to hold an item to do it because like if you don't have like with Gigantamax how you could just do that whenever you wanted, like that was stupid, so I'm hoping that it's something that's more competitively balanced like that where you have to hold an item to do it.
Like
um
Mega Stones,
yeah like a
Sepho Chrysler,
yeah like a
Sepho Chrysler.
yeah exactly. So but yeah, I'm very intrigued about that. I don't know how are you kind of liking that idea or
Well, my concern is only one Pokemon on your team allowed to do it, not every Pokemon. That would be the way wild.
yeah, so that similarly like Mega Evolution, Z Move, and Gigantamax were all limited to one Pokemon. So I would assume this is going to be limited to one Pokemon per game as well. So I'm not really concerned about it from that standpoint because I don't think you'd be able to do it to everybody. Um, but yeah, I am. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Um, so there's that, and so I guess that brings us to we want to talk a little or a lot about probably one of, if not the most important thing um, in any new Pokemon game, and that of course is how many new clothing and hairstyles you can access, right?
Well, I don't really care about my clothes as long as I
I'm
can
kidding. I'm kidding. Of course
exist in the
of
game.
of course it's the new Pokemon. It's not the clothing and the hairstyles. It's the new Pokemon is the most important thing. So that was
Yeah,
just
I just wish they don't hold our hand with the legendaries, but that's probably how we get around. So
yeah. So
there's nothing I can do.
I was gonna say, so quick note on that. So it's pretty much confirmed that in this game you're going to be pretty much starting the game with your legendary, which I actually don't like that, to be completely honest with. Like, I understand the way they're like building it into the game where like you use the basically instead of like a bicycle or instead of a using fly, you're just going to use your legendary for everything, which while I can appreciate that idea on the surface, I still think that's a bad idea to give you the legendary that early, and I don't really like it. But it, like you said, it just kind of is what
It'd
it
be
is.
easy. The gym and challenge is gonna be very easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you can use your legendary from freaking day one, you're just gonna be able to smash through everything. So, and that feeds to what you just said too about the. It looks like the game is gonna be very handholdy, for lack of better
So
word.
what they should do, it's just my opinion,
Hmm.
that they give if you give you access to that Pokemon to use as just use it as whatever we can use it for, not in our team.
Right, so you could only
Like
use it as like transportation or as like a buddy or whatever, but you
yeah,
couldn't
until we
actually.
unlock the Pokemon. Like most legendary, we unlocked it, in the later on in the game.
Right, so yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case here, but I mean that would make more sense if they did it that way. So, but we'll have to wait and see. I guess we don't have that information yet. Um, but yeah, so speaking of those legendaries and speaking of the new Pokemon, we might as well talk about it. So obviously we have the box art legendaries. So the Scarlet one is Coradon, I guess it's called, and the Violet one
So
is
for now,
Miradon. Coradon and Miradon, I guess, is what they are. But
don't
the
worry, B-Nard. The Nintendo can't pronounce their own Pokemon names. They say Groudon.
yes, well, I'm not too worried about it, but I will say I find it interesting because as of right now we have about 20 confirmed new Pokemon, give or take, in Scarlet and Violet, and obviously we have the box art legendaries, and
Also, we're getting some Pokemon from the old games.
oh, of course, yeah, but I'm just talking about the new ones right now.
Okay,
Um,
screw them.
yeah, so um, I find it interesting that we still don't know the typings of the box art legendaries yet. That's kind of weird to me. Um, but I think if you follow Pokemon logic, as far as like what
It's
something
gonna be
looks,
broken stats.
well, yeah, they're going to be broken stats. But I think typing wise, if you follow Pokemon logic, the Violet one is 1,000% going to be electric. It's going to be part electric. Like I would like snap my Switch in half if that thing wasn't an electric type. Like
I hope not.
it's it like look at
Want
it. It
Bino to keep a spare one before he get the new games.
yeah, it's like it because it literally has lightning bolts on its head. So like if it's not if it's not part electric, everything I know about Pokemon has been a lie. Let's just put it that way. um but the Scarlet one, I think it's probably more than likely. I mean, it could be because you see it has like a bunch of feathers on its head and stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
I was thinking fire because it's red because again Pokemon logic, but um
Well, not all Pokemon colors are what type they are. Garchomp is blue.
true that it's not always it doesn't always hold true, but also it looks like it has like a flame in its eye too, the Scarlet Legendary. So I would say it has to be part fire or part flying. I mean, it could be fire flying. Who knows? Because
They
it
could do levitate. I don't know. It could fly. Well, it's gonna fly, so I think they could be both flying types. But you can't
possibly.
give one the better typing than the add-ons.
Yeah. Well, they have done that
Like
in the past, but I mean, they. don't necessarily have to make it balanced, although they do usually try to. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, it could be the legendaries, the box art legendaries most of the time, I think, or a lot of the time anyway, are dragon. So, um,
Broken.
I was thinking, but if they are dragon, like say the Koraidon is like fire dragon, and say Miraidon is electric dragon, then that would just be a rehash of Generation 5 with Zekrom
Yeah,
and
they might not
Reshiram.
do that.
Yeah, so they probably wouldn't do that. I don't think so. Maybe they will be like fire flying and electric flying. Who knows? Or like fire flying and like electric dragon or something. Um, but either way, I'm interested. I think the designs are kind of weird because like obviously, I mean they're kind of cool in one way, but they're kind of weird in another way because like obviously the Koraidon has like a freaking tire for a chest, which is like weird because they like turn into motorcycles or some bullshit. I don't know. So like it's
I think people at Nintendo look at Pokemon Go and let's copy that bike.
yeah, pretty much. They were like looking at the new Honda cycles or something. I don't know, but either way, and then the Miraidon has its back feeder like wheels or something. I don't know. So it's weird. It's a little weird, but kind of cool. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Do you?
The bad team just looks stupid.
Yeah, yeah,
Is it Team Star, I believe?
yeah. Okay, so I you're 100% right. Team Star looks awful. Okay, so the last few generations have been really a roller coaster with the villainous teams in the Pokemon games.
Yeah,
If
Team
we're
Yell was stupid. They
Team
all they do is
Team Yell, yeah, Sword and Shield Team Yell was the worst villainous team of any.
they're not even villains. They just yell at the favorite lady
It's like a yeah, it's
her
like
name.
it's like a toxic fan at a football game essentially. It's like yeah, that guy's a jerk, but like is he evil? Not really, you know. So but yeah, Team Yell I think was the worst of all of them, which is funny because in Generation 7 in Sun and Moon, we got what think could have been one of, if not the best villainous team, which was Team Skull, if you recall. Um,
They do a lot of dancing those. They do a lot. They spend more time dancing than battering.
Yeah, but the just if you read the dialogue of like the Team Skull encounters and like the music and like the
The music is
motions,
amazing.
it was hilarious. Like Team Skull was everything that I needed out of a villainous team in a Pokemon game. Like it was incredible. And then like I would go as far as to say Team Skull is like short of like the original Team Rocket like Jesse and James, Team Skull is 100%. Aside from that, Team Skull is 100% the best villainous team we've got in a Pokemon game ever, aside from the Jesse James Team Rocket. Having said that, Team Yell was I think the worst villainous team we've ever got in a Pokemon game. So Team Star, now having said that, I will tell you Team Star looks just as bad as Team Yell. Like it looks just as bad as Team Yell. It's like, oh, the school troublemakers are causing a ruckus, and it's like, oh my god, like this is horrible. Like
I feel
that
like we went down a notch. I feel like pre-K students playing this game now.
Yeah, at least actually, you know what? And I hate to say this, but I feel like I can't not say it. Team Star as of right now actually looks worse than Team Yell, to be honest, because like Team Yell was at least like even though it was horrible, they still had like dark clothes on and they looked like kind of sort of menacing a little bit, you know, but like Team Star like there's nothing there. Like it's
Also, they took over a town. They took literally over a town.
Yes, they did, at least did that. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, Team Star might be like Team Star is essentially like the school bully. Like that's the villainous team, and it's like what like this like I think the
You're
worst.
flabbergasted.
Yes, I would go as far as to say so far the worst thing I've seen out of Scarlet and Violet is Team Star. Like
Yeah,
that's the worst part of anything that I've seen out of it so far. So
and I only see one team. Most games have their own bad teams.
Yeah, they usually did have that historically. They would have
Then they
multiples.
got lazy.
Yes, that is true.
They
Um,
can't do Stone and Planet or something like that. I don't know. Team Planet.
yeah,
I don't know.
Team Star and Team Planet. Yeah, might as well.
Oh, anything else? It has to be like someone in the sky. So like stars and could
Yeah,
be. Well, it can't be sun. They can't do Sun and Moon. They already did that
I was just
as a
gonna say,
game.
yeah, that wouldn't work. You couldn't have like team. Yeah, that wouldn't work. So, but yeah, that's definitely something that we're gonna have to keep an eye on. I hope that it's not as bad as I think it's gonna be. Although like I said, I think this is easily the worst thing that we've seen out of this game so far. Um, but yeah, going back to the Pokemon for a second, the new Pokemon
Okay.
that is. What do you think of the starters so far that we got in this generation?
They look like rehash of the last generation.
Not I don't know necessarily the last generation, but they
The what is it, crackling or whatever, the one that looked like a duck.
Quack. Yeah, so that one, so
That looked like
Quaxley,
a cross between
Ducklet,
a freaking what is that? The duck Pokemon.
Ducklet.
Yes, that and something else with a pyro hat on. Come on,
Yeah.
bro, get better creation.
Yeah, no, it was so I will tell you um I don't know which starter I'm going to pick when I start the game, but I can tell you the one that I'm not going to pick, and it's
The one that's
Quaxley.
probably overrated.
It's Quaxley.
Is
Quaxley
that the
is not.
grass one?
No, Quaxley is the duck. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, I'm not
picking
gonna
that
choose that either.
because that is like, to me, that is such a rehash. Like, that specific Pokemon is such a rehash.
That looked like Ducklet,
Yeah, it's Ducklet.
Duckling
It is Ducklet essentially from Gen, which was
with a
like
hat.
yeah, which is like a throwaway water type from Gen 5. So it's like that's stupid. Um, I kind of like both of the other ones, to be honest with you. Even though the cat, the grass one, the Sprigatito or whatever the hell it's called, um, that thing is not very original. It just looks kind of like a grass version of Litten from.
Litten?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like a grass version of Litten. So that's a rehash too, but at least it's like kind of a decent rehash, and it's like a different. It might be a different take on it.
Uh,
So
do you saw the final stage yet or no?
no, so that's another thing, is that we don't know. We don't even have the second stage evolutions of the
So I'm
starters.
hoping for the sieges. The grass cats stay on all four.
Yeah, and it doesn't turn into
Like
like
they
a
don't
freaking.
ruin it like Incineroar. Incineroar stands up. The Tony
Yeah,
the Tiger ripoff.
yeah, yeah, I agree with you in the sense that they shouldn't feel compelled to make everything stand on 2 feet when it hits its final evolution. I agree with you there. That's
Like
not.
what is it? Litten second stage it on is a cat, literally on four stages.
Yep, and then it goes to Incineroar, and although I will tell you, I really do like Incineroar, but you're right. At the same time, there's no reason for all Pokemon to stand on 2 feet when they evolve. But
Especially cat.
exactly, especially a cat. So
At least what is it? Meowth went backwards. It evolved it's standing on 2 feet, but it
mhm.
going forward and it evolves. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, it goes back to all fours when it evolves to Persian. That's kind of funny. I never thought of that, to be honest with you. That's funny. Um, so yeah, the grass cat doesn't look bad. It doesn't look original, but it looks okay. Um,
I might choose the fire one for my live stream, and then the cat one because I'm buying both games. I don't know about you, but I'm buying both of them.
I am not buying both of them. That's for sure.
It's only $184 down here.
You mean up there?
Yeah, okay, sorry, I'm in Canada.
Yes, you're above me, in geographically, but yeah, Fuecoco, the fire type, that thing looks. I think that's probably the best one of the three, to be honest with you. Even
I,
though
I'm afraid that it's gonna have good attack and terrible. It looks like a Rampardos.
although actually it's also a little rehashy because it kind of reminds me of like a fire Totodile essentially. So,
Yeah,
but it does look the best, and so I'm
it needs
torn.
Dragon Dance. It needs
Yes,
Dragon Dance.
I'm torn between those two. I'm torn between the grass and the fire this generation. But I will say, as far as final evolutions, we don't have any information on the evolutionary paths that these starters are going to take. But I will say that I'm really hoping for the fire, the Fuecoco. I'm hoping for that to become like a fire ground. Like maybe it'll end up being like a almost like a fire version of like Crocodile, kind of, which I think would be pretty decent. Um,
Yeah, well, we don't have. I believe we only have one fire ground type.
yep, and that is Camerupt. Yep. So
Yes, we need. Well, it needs someone to protect it. So give it like a fire ability, maybe a hidden ability. I'm just speculating here
hmm
that help you on water moves.
yeah, like Solid
That's
Rock or
really
something.
good. Yeah, solid rock would actually work, but I don't know if people would actually like that ability.
Yeah, probably
Because
not.
water moves are gonna drown. Just be evil and give it what is it? Stone Drain. That's broken.
Oh, yeah, I don't think there's any chance of that happening. That would be
No, no.
broken. You're right.
It also is a Pokemon, so it could be the heat from. I'll give it like a new ability that helps you on water moves. It
Well, actually, it would.
reduce the.
Yeah, realistically, they could give it dry skin, but like, you know, that would that
That'd be
would
awesome.
that would be pretty broken though. Honestly, like they would.
Well,
That
it
would.
depends. Vino is all depend on the stats.
Yeah. Oh,
It
yeah.
it doesn't.
Absolutely.
It doesn't. If it has a good ability, it could have bad stats.
Well, yeah, that's true. It could, but I think most of the starters have pretty decent. So, like, I'm trying to think of like the starter with it's probably like Meganium, right? Is like one of the starters with like the worst stats. But like all in all, the starters
Ember is pretty sucky. Ember.
Embor, yeah. But all in all,
The
the
only thing good
starters,
about that is get reckless, and that
right?
Phil Blitz will throw you off the field.
Exactly. So I think all in all, the most pretty much all the starters have decent stats. So if they follow that pattern, then we're gonna have decent stats on these starters
And
too.
I'm
So
just trying the gun. We don't need another firefighting. We have too many of those.
yeah, I am gonna be really mad if they do that. So I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. I want fire ground for that thing. So my prediction slash hope for the final stages of all the starters, and I'm really another hope that I have for Fuecoco is I hope it doesn't turn into like a mongoloid looking thing like for alligator did. Like is for alligator is like Totodile. In my opinion, Totodile is hands down the best choice of the stage ones of the Gen 2 starters. But then you get to Feraligatr and it's like it looks like it has Down syndrome and it's like it's not it's not good. So I'm hoping that Fuecoco that doesn't happen to Fuecoco. But I'm hoping slash predicting for Fuecoco Fire Ground, um, for Quaxley, I'm going to go with the obvious and say Water Flying, although they could throw us a U-turn, pun intended. Because they did that with in Generation 7 with Rowlet. They did that because, like, obviously you just look at it and you're like, okay, obviously it's going to be grass flying, right? And then it gets to Decidueye and it's grass ghost, and you're like, what
It
happened?
evolved and then died.
Yeah,
It evolves
exactly.
and then died.
Right. So, which is really cool, but, like, who could have guessed? So, but I am going to go with the obvious. I'm going to go water flying, and then for the cat, I'm
I,
gonna.
I wish I wish the cat like was a flying grass. We don't have that ever as a starter, but it's weak to ice.
Yeah, I don't see that. I mean, that would be
No, no,
interesting, but I
I
don't
don't
see
think the
that.
cat is gonna be flying.
I'm gonna
I
say,
hope they don't keep it pure grass. I'll cry.
yeah. You know what? I am gonna say pure grass. Actually, I'm gonna say it stays pure grass. That's so I'm predicting pure grass, fire ground, and actually, you know what? Maybe I'll change my. Let me think about this for a second.
It could. I wish it become. For me, I wish it become like a. What is it? Grass dragon.
That would be interesting.
Oh, a grass fairy because of the cat. It may learn play rough, but I don't know yet.
That's
Like
possible.
a lot of cats now learning play rough, like Persian.
Yeah.
I
So
keep naming it.
all right. So I think that's going to be my official prediction. I think you're right. I'm gonna go with grass fairy, and then I'm gonna go with grass fairy, fire ground, and water flying, and we'll see. We'll see how right I am.
Imagine it become fire dragon. That's scary. That's a scary threat.
That would be cool.
Yeah, we didn't have any starters with that.
No. We had one.
There's two other fire dragons, but one is Ubers and the one is just there. It's not
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Turdinator
Yeah, and then restaurant is
and the
the other one.
restaurant. Yeah, so you have one on each end of the spectrum. Um,
So we need one in the middle.
yes, so and that could be this. We'll find out. But
We don't
yeah,
know yet.
so as far as let me say this, ask you this though. So as far as all the other Pokemon, so again, like I said, we have about 20 Pokemon, new Pokemon confirmed so far for this generation. Is there any other Pokemon that kind of stick out to you for any reason of what we've seen so far? Like ones you really
uh,
you like? Is there any one that you like particularly or dislike particularly or?
well, they have rumors now that there's gonna be a remake of Gen 5, but that's time for another story.
Yes, yes. So, but I'm just talking about like the new Pokemon. Like, do you particularly like or dislike any of the other new Pokemon that they've revealed so far?
They should get better designs.
Okay.
At least they update the Pokemon from being a garbage can and
Well, that's
then
true.
magnets to a garbage can. Now they updated to a bicycle. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Are we using whole house appliance now?
Well, we already have that. We have Rotom. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
but Rotom not doesn't become other stuff like a table,
Well, technically,
make
oh,
it ground or something.
yes. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen. But all right.
That'd be broken unless it ground. Who's taking that?
I
There's
don't
only
know.
one of those.
Yeah. So I'll tell you that some of the Pokemon. So I'm kind of like all in all, I'm like lukewarm on the new Pokemon designs. Like I think some of them are good, some of them are meh, and some of them are bad. So that kind of all averages out, but that's kind of expected. Um, some of the ones that I think probably some of the best ones are how do I say this Cer Cerulege or Cerulege, yeah, that thing. The
You
thing,
can't just use the shorter word. It's trying to bring big words up in here.
yeah, the thing that's ghost, that's fire ghost that looks like Mega Man.
Huh?
That thing, I
We already
like.
have a lot of fire ghosts. And not like a legendary.
It's a pseudo. I think that's going to be a pseudo legendary, but I like that thing a lot. That makes me disappointed because I was gonna get Scarlet, and my mind was like 99% made up that I was gonna get Scarlet, and then they dropped that thing and said it was a Violet exclusive, and I was like, that makes me want to get Violet because that thing looks badass. Like the its counterpart looks okay. The Armorage or whatever, Armorage, whatever the hell it's called.
Close
I don't.
enough.
Yeah, that thing. It looks okay, but the Cerulege looks incredible. That design is incredible. I like that a lot. I kind of like Cyclizer, the dragon normal type. Even though
Are they copying Drampa, the old dragon?
it doesn't, they are copying his typing, yes, but it doesn't look anything like Drampa. I do like the look of this thing.
They they should give Drampa evolution.
I don't think so. I think it's just
I think the stats is pretty good though.
it look
The
it's
stats is pretty good.
it looks like it's going to be a pseudo legendary also, so I feel like its stats are
Right.
probably going to be pretty good too. So I like that thing. I also like the and people say that I'm stupid for saying this, but I kind of like what's it called, the Graffafi, whatever it's called, the first ever normal poison type that we're getting. That thing that looks like
Oh, cool.
the monkey thing. I kind of like that
That
thing.
might be every game has a rodent. That might be one of the rodents.
Maybe, but I do like that thing. It looks like it's gonna be bad though. Like it looks like its stats are gonna be awful.
Mm,
So I don't. I'm not super hopeful for being able to use that thing, but I'm glad that they're doing, because like normal poison is a new typing to this game, and that's a typing that I've been kind of waiting for on a while. I think that
that's
it's,
good.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, but I think by far the one
I find the
Pokemon.
graphics and do you saw the moves they used? The moves look pretty nice.
They do, yes, I agree. Um, but I have to tell you this, by far, the one new Pokemon that we're getting that I am looking forward to more than anything else and
Mega
I'm
Man?
no, and I'm 100% serious about this. Lechonk. Lechonk, people. Lechonk. The pig with the huge nose. The This is the first time, and I'm not kidding about this like I was about the clothing and hair thing, because even though that's, I mean, I like to customize my character, but that doesn't matter. This I am not kidding about. This thing is so perfect. Like, I've never been more excited to catch a Gen 1, a Route 1 normal type in my life than I am to get this thing. Like, this thing is so hilarious. Like, I can't even, like, and its name is perfect. Lechonk. It is incredible, people.
So you're not to give it a nickname, you just have to keep it original.
Yeah, no nickname. It's just actually so I'm like 99% sure this thing is going to evolve at least once because all the Route 1 normal types do. Um, but I think I'm going to nickname.
Let me guess. You're gonna name it. You're gonna nickname it Pinocchio.
No, I'm just gonna nickname it Lechonk. I'm gonna like
Okay.
when Lechonk evolves into something else, I'm gonna nickname it Lechonk again because that is just it is too perfect. So I love that. I love that thing, and I can't wait to get that. So that's on the positive end. I'd say the ones that I really don't like. The only ones that I don't like that I've seen, I don't like the and this is one of the new reveals. Recently, I think it's the most recent reveal or one of is the Bella Bolt, the thing that looks like a frog, that electric like toad looking thing. I think you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I'm
They
not I think that thing looks kind of stupid. Um and
well, they
then
have to make some stupid designs.
well, of course, yeah. And then Smoliv, the thing that looks like a Badoo, that thing. I'm
Well,
not
they made a apple, a cupcake,
yes.
cake.
Yep. So now we're getting an
They
olive.
made now we getting yeah. I would Why are we getting so much different animal Pokemon that name after fruit?
I don't know, but I don't like that thing. I think it's stupid looking. And then the other thing that I really don't like is the Wiglet. Wiglet. Which is like might as well be a Diglett regional variant, but it's not. Um, yeah, I'm not. I'm
Do you
not.
know the typing or no?
It's water. It's a water type.
I just go with Diglett. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think that thing looks dumb too. But you know what? I mean, it's average because there's some designs I think are really good. A lot of them I think are all right, and then some of them that I think are really bad. So, um,
I'm hoping in this game they give us some Pokemon while we do our journey.
mhm,
It's open road, so you can go any gym you want. But I'd probably just go to the first gym in my area I can go to,
yeah,
not getting blown away by the high level trainer.
yes, yeah. So yeah, that's another interesting thing. So the way that they're working the story like that, I think, is very interesting. Moving on, so I think I'm interested to see how that plays out. Absolutely. So,
What they could do is when you beat a gym leader anywhere, the
uh,
next gym leader should have higher Pokemon, like a level cap.
mm, they might
Like
actually
you
do
need
that. I think that's the.
so continue.
I was gonna say that's probably what they're gonna do. To be honest with you, because I think that's the only way to make it fair. So they probably will do that. So that would be good. Um,
Uh,
so yeah. But yeah, I think I am looking forward to it. I will say. I would say. Let me ask you this though. Um, so of everything that we've talked about and all you're thinking about going into Scarlet and Violet, what are like maybe one or two of the things that you're really most hoping that they do with this game, or what are you really hoping for out of this game more than anything?
good storyline.
Hmm. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, I don't think there's much story. It's like there's a lot of it's open road mostly, and then uh you can just go to gym leaders if you need to. I prefer doing the gym leaders.
Hmm.
Hold
Yeah,
on, I need to delete some stuff on my phone. It even over an hour.
that's okay. It's all good. Um, yes. So I know I'll take your I'll take the words right out of your mouth with this one. I know you're really hoping for an extended battle timer. That's for sure.
True.
I know I am also. I'm very much hoping that we get at least a 30-minute timer on this. Um, so I think other than that, I think the one thing that I'm really looking or hoping for, looking forward to with this game is just good new Pokemon designs. Essentially, like that's always a big thing for me, as it is for probably most people, I would think. Um, I'm really hoping for that, and like I said, I have seen some good ones so far. So I hope that the evolutions aren't of the starters aren't stupid. I hope that they are just that they're the stuff that we don't know um, is good. That's I just hope they because like I said, I think they really just need quality over quantity at this point, especially when it comes to making new Pokemon. So that I'm really looking forward to and hoping for, hopeful for. And then the timer thing, of course, I really hope that they fix that. Um, but and then yeah, they have obviously they confirmed a bunch of Pokemon coming back from the old generations. I think right now we have I want to say about 200 or so. So as far as dex size goes, what are you thinking? I'm thinking we'll probably get maybe you think a little more than Sword and Shield, or you think about the same.
Probably the same.
So you think the main dex will probably be around like 400?
Uh, hopefully not. We need more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking because you have to think like after this generation, I'd say conservatively we'd probably be looking at like maybe 70 to 80 new Pokemon in this game, um, and then maybe on the top side of that we might be looking at like 100. So we're probably looking at almost after this generation drops at having total almost like 1,000 Pokemon, which is a lot. So I'm hoping that the dex on this game is like 500 minimum. That's what I'm hoping
I
for.
I just miss Ultra Beast. I know they some of them are pretty broken.
Yeah.
That how they make them. I don't know. I can't do nothing about that.
Yeah, I hope they bring those back too. Like I could, to be honest with you, I could deal without the Tapus just because they're OP, they're annoying and OP. But I do like the Ultra Beasts a lot. I like Buzzwall, I like Nihilego, I like Blacephalon. So I hope that they do work those back in. I do hope that they don't bring back like all the box art legendaries because those are just obnoxious.
This one is broken. It needs to be away.
Exactly. So
Jayceon stats are disgusting, and it get +1 on and the entering the field.
yeah, I really hope we don't get those back. Although I would imagine so. My prediction long term is that I kind of think that we're gonna get another like they're probably gonna do the same thing with this game as they did with Sword and Shield with the DLC. I would think. Um,
I don't mind that. I don't mind that as long as they give us something that not only 3 hours, and we pay. Basically, we get paid $10 an hour.
yeah, I'm hoping. I agree with you. Um, I'm hoping that they do DLC, but I hope it's not as like you're not paying as much for as little. Although I'm not gonna hold my breath on that. Um, but I hope that it's more like if it's only like five. If they charged only like 15, $20 as opposed to 30, I'd be more okay with that. Or if they made it more substantial content. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping for that with the DLC. But I'm thinking, as far as the Pokemon go, I'm hoping and thinking that like the main decks might have like maybe 500, like 450 or 500. And then if they do DLC, they'll add another couple hundred. So then at the end of the day, when everything's all said and done, we might be up near like maybe 750 out of 1,000, which would be, I'd be okay with that.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to it all in all. I think I see more good things than bad things about the game at this point, and we're a few weeks away, and I'm ready to go, and I hope it doesn't suck. um, but I don't really have too much else to say. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, Joey. Any closing comments about it, about Scarlet and Violet?
Yeah, they need to just fix the timing.
Hmm.
Okay, no, they need to give us a better battle system.
Yeah.
New generation. I miss. Do you play Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire?
Not anymore, but I did.
I mean, back in the days,
Oh yeah, of
that was
course.
the best settings in history. You can go online and talk to people.
Yeah, I did like
You
that.
can be online while you walk around the city. You don't be trapped in the room.
Yeah, the Festival Plaza was not good. What was that? I think that was in.
I thought Rainbow Rocket was going to keep it. I didn't need it.
Yeah,
I
yeah, no,
People tell them they should keep it. That place was trash.
yeah. I was no, I was not happy about that. I think honestly, I think Sword and Shield was pretty good with the way their online interface was, because like you could search for random battles and it would pair you. Like I like that. Um, I hated like the BDSP system on launch was shit, but like with the
Yeah, we waited. You have to wait for like 6 months for the GTS to actually get access to.
yeah, that was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. So I'm hoping we don't have to go through anything like that with Scarlet and Violet, but um yeah, I guess we'll see. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I kind of don't mind the way that they have it now though, with like the room where you have all the people and you can like, and then you have people doing like battle
They
codes.
took them a while to do that.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
upgraded.
So I don't mind that. I mean, I still think I prefer the Sword and Shield system, but I don't mind that. So I guess we'll find out. I'm hoping. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It took them way too long to do that. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping that they learn from their mistakes in that department as well. So
So I don't really have much to say until we get more news.
yep.
I don't know if you want to do part two and if we get enough information to talk about.
Well, we'll probably
You let me
do
know.
my goal because, like I said, I think at this point we're probably not going to get really any more information before the game is released, or much of it
Yeah, the
anyway.
last trailer was a tease. They tease us.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we'll probably be back here to do another one of these, like maybe a couple months after the game comes out, so we
All
can
right.
have all the information and all that good stuff. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much all we can say about it for now, because that's all the information we have about it. So they are very tight-lipped about a lot of things, post or pre-release. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm hoping it doesn't suck. So
Yeah.
we'll
So
see.
see you guys next video. Well, are you done yet,
Yep.
V-Nod?
Yeah, about to sign off. So, yeah, that's
All
it.
right.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and/or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new videos in the future. I want to thank,
Tap V-Nod channel link below.
I want to thank Joey Fontaine for showing up and discussing all things Pokemon with me. So, thank you for that.
Thank you.
All
I
right,
appreciate it.
no problem, man. And yeah, so that's it, and we'll see you next time.